Coming up, flying with the stars.
What a bow and arrow and landing all have in common. And from Russia with love.
And the must-see place for science, weather geeks, and pilots. AOPA Live this week begins in just a moment.
Build and flying with the Sonex aircraft B models. The B models offer more room and comfort, more fuel, more panel space, more engine choices, and the same great Sonex aircraft flight characteristics. Learn more at SonexAircraft.com.
This is AOPA Live This Week with Tom Haynes and Melissa Rudinger.
15,000 pilots cleared for takeoff in fewer than 100 days. That's how many people have completed the checklist, scheduled a physical with their favorite doc, and completed the AOPA Medical Self-Assessment online course.
Now that's 15,000 people who might be otherwise not flying. BasicMed was one of the hot topics at AirVenture in Oshkosh this year. Hundreds of pilots talked to AOPA staff about BasicMed. Les Smith had been paying thousands of dollars each year for a special issuance after surviving testicular cancer.
And then this year, when BasicMed passed, I said, I'm the guy. I'm the candidate for this. So I contacted my AME. Could have visited my local doctor, but I knew I was going to be near and the opportunity to visit AME. I asked him if he would agree to that. He said, oh sure, I totally believe in that program. I'll do it for you. You know, flight is very dear to those of us who have tasted it, and the third class medical was very important. But the BasicMed makes that whole process easier, still has proven safety. It's a much easier way to go about it.
AOPA President Mark Baker said it was the effort of AOPA members that made BasicMed possible.
Why did this happen? Why did it happen finally after 40 years? Because you got involved. You made things happen. Your messages were heard by Congress last year. It was passed 4 times in the Senate, finally once in the House, signed by the President. Your voices matter.
And now to something where your voice matters even more, ATC privatization. This issue is being pushed by the big airlines as a way to solve endemic delays and frustrations suffered by airline passengers, but they're pushing lies. The vast majority of delays are caused by things that the airlines could control themselves or by weather. You can find out more details on this on AOPALive.org. Look for the truth on ATC privatization. Your voice in the ear of your representative or senators is more important than ever. Congress is in recess, so the lawmakers are back in their home districts. Attend their town halls, call their local offices, and tell them that you oppose ATC privatization and HR 2997.
And it's not just the big airlines that are pushing privatization. Big unions, big business, all have a financial interest in giving ATC to a private corporation run by them and dominated by them. Even big government is pushing privatization. The Department of Transportation created this website to try to sell privatization, and it's probably legal for them to do that, but some FAA and DOT officials may have crossed the line in promoting privatization. 3 Democratic congressmen have asked the DOT Inspector General to look into inappropriate and possibly illegal lobbying by at least 4 government officials.
And speaking of something else inappropriate and definitely illegal, non-emergency chatter on 121.5 or GARD. And the FCC says enough. They've put out this warning. Misuse of the GARD frequency could result in fines of up to $144,000. 121.5 is for emergencies only. Extraneous chatter can distract people monitoring the channel and might even prevent them from hearing a real emergency. And FCC says it's going to get aggressive in enforcing the regulations against misuse of GARD. So check which frequency you're on before you mash the push-to-talk button. We've heard it, none of it's original.
Right, yes, you're right. It's not original. You hear all sorts of weird stuff on that frequency, I gotta tell. So be a little more courteous out there. Hey, the AOPA Fly-In in Norman, Oklahoma is just a few weeks away. It's on September 8th and 9th. There's a lot of great things to do in Norman, but there's also an amazing opportunity to learn about aviation weather. AOPA Live's Paul Harrop joins us now from the National Weather Center, where there will be an all-day workshop to help pilots understand the science of the sky.
Here at the National Weather Center in Norman, the greatest minds in meteorology are hard at work doing things like weather radar research, studying our atmosphere, producing convective outlooks, and preparing an intensive workshop to help pilots understand weather even better.
This building behind me, the National Weather Center, represents...
From the second this video by legendary meteorologist Gary England welcomes you in the door, you know you're someplace special. The National Weather Center is Mecca for the weather nerd.
The National Weather Center is a one-of-a-kind facility. It is the only national weather center in the galaxy.
Located south of OKC on the University of Oklahoma campus in Norman, it's home to many agencies that keep people aware and safe when the skies turn dark.
We have examples like the National Weather Service that are providing local advisories, watches, and warnings for counties in Oklahoma and Texas. We have a national center, the Storm Prediction Center, that's issuing all the severe thunderstorm and tornado watches for the continental United States.
Plus, the research that is headquartered here is working to save lives by gathering data and developing new technologies. You'll be able to see the Smart R mobile radar trucks and the National Severe Storms Laboratory's field research vehicles. Now that's a sweet storm chasing ride.
Well, weather is a really important thing to aviation. And a lot of people think that they have a good idea about meteorology, about the weather, but there's so many small things that go into how we put together a forecast and how we do the things that we do on a day-to-day basis. And so getting the opportunity to work with these professionals, learn from them, you're going to pick up on so many new things that you probably never knew existed.
The Friday workshop here at NWC will be packed with tools you can use to stay safe, presented by the best in the world.
If there was a Mount Rushmore for meteorology, there's a lot of people in this building that could arguably be on that Mount Rushmore, and you'll get the opportunity to interact with those folks here at the workshop.
You know, it really is kind of like the Mount Rushmore of meteorology. The greatest minds of the science work in this building behind me, and there's a couple opportunities for you to choose from to get a chance to see them in person during the AOPA Fly-In to Norman. One, you can just take a tour of the building, which is really neat, and I would highly recommend it, or you can spend all day Friday in our workshop learning from these weather experts about aviation meteorology. In Norman, Oklahoma, Paul Harrop, AOPA Live.
Thanks, Paul. Pre-registration is required for that workshop. Head to aopa.org/fly-in to register and check out the rest of the activities at Norman. The tours of the National Weather Center will be on Friday. There is a nominal charge for transportation to and from the center. Sign up at the information tent there at the Fly-In. I got to tell you, I've been through the building that Paul was just talking about and seen some of the facilities. It's amazing, really, really fascinating.
Yes, I've had the opportunity to tour it as well, and if you're going to be in Norman, definitely check it out.
Definitely worth checking out. When we come back, why is landing like shooting an arrow?
And behind the scenes with some air show stars. AOPA Live this week continues in a moment.
The smoke is on. He's giving everything that he's got. Oh, I love it! He's there!
The Red Bull Air Race World Championship returns to Indianapolis Motor Speedway, October 14th and 15th. Tickets now on sale.
Welcome back. Do you sometimes have trouble gauging your landing spot on the runway? The AOPA Air Safety Institute has just released a new video that might help. Safety tip: Aiming Point teaches you a simple trick to stay on target on short final.
Put a piece of tape on the windshield. Pick a spot on the runway. That's your aiming point. Keep that aiming point in the same spot on the runway in relation to the tape. If that aiming point moves up in the windshield in relation to the piece of tape, you're too low. If that aiming point moves down in the windshield, you're too high.
You can find that video and a bunch more safety videos on the AOPA Air Safety Institute's YouTube channel. Oh, and why is landing like shooting an arrow?
Landing is a lot like shooting an arrow, but without the bow. Or arrow.
And a question left unanswered, I guess. And something else new from the Air Safety Institute, the second edition of the There I Was podcast. This one with P-51 guru Lee Louderback.
You know, there I was, sort of in the backseat of the P-51 again, which, I've been an instructor for, over 30 years now on the Mustang. So sort of like my back office or my office, and things that I really don't have and sometimes can't see. For an example, the gear handle.
Yep, in the back seat with a gear problem. You can hear how Lee Louderback resolved the problem and other tales on the Mustang in the podcast series, There I Was. The AOPA Foundation just announced the winners of the 2017 Flight Training Scholarships. AOPA Foundation Vice President of Philanthropy Mike Tompos and Foundation staff member Karen Hemingway called the winners on Skype to tell them the news. Winner Kwejo Ek was especially excited to get the news.
I have to tell you that we had more than 700 applications for our Foundation Flight Training Scholarship Program, and we can only award 18 scholarships.
Wow.
But we're calling today because you are one of the 18.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
You'll be receiving a $4,000 scholarship from the Foundation Memorial Scholarship, which was created using funds donated in memory of P. Scott Liebert and Jim F. Wallace to celebrate their lives and legacy as aviators. And so we're thrilled. You wrote a very good application, and we're thrilled to make this award in their names.
Wow, thank you so much. This is such an honor. I can't thank you enough. I'm just so grateful. Thank you so much.
Kwejo became interested in flying as a kid, playing with Microsoft Flight Simulator, where he grew up in Ghana. His love of flying grew, and when he moved to the U.S., he was able to start his flight training. After getting his private, Kwejo hopes to work his way up to an ATP. Ultimate goal? To fly for organizations that do missions and humanitarian aid in developing countries. Congratulations to Kwejo and all the other scholarship winners.
You may have heard that President Trump is enjoying a working vacation on his golf property in New Jersey. But the Secret Service and the Air Force never take a vacation. And so the friendly feds are reminding pilots in the New York and New Jersey area that there is a presidential TFR active there. They're serious about enforcing it. It affects a lot of airports, including 2 that are inside the no-fly ring. So as we like to say, and so we do, check NOTAMs every time before you fly.
And President Trump may soon be flying in a Russian airplane, sort of. You see, the Air Force is going to buy 2 747s that were originally built for a Russian airline. The airline went bankrupt, so the Air Force can get the birds for a relative song. They'll be converted to serve as Air Force One, replacing the 2 original 747s that have been in service for 27 years. And speaking of that was fun. I got to tour Air Force One a number of years ago, and it's a fascinating airplane. But I got to tell you, it looks a little dated on the inside. The technology is kind of creaky, so probably a new one is in order.
Good time for an upgrade.
It is.
And finally this week, we leave you with the story of an aerobatic demonstration team that lives, eats, and sleeps aviation. AOPA Online Associate Editor David Toulis has the story.
The Phillips 66 Aerostars perform daytime and nighttime aerial ballet routines that are celebrated by even jaded airshow attendees. But when the pilots are performing, the public is the last thing on their mind.
When we're actually in the show, it's actually the most, for me personally, it's the most peaceful time in my life. And it sounds odd, but it provides me a sense of focus where nothing else matters for those 17 minutes. And it's really meditative for me.
The Aerostars pilots are all commercial aviators, and they fly on the Aerostars team to satisfy their love for flying. It takes a lot of work and practice to perfect the show.
In the beginning of the season, we'll start up with a good, 4 to 5 days and a couple of sorties a day.
The team performs in Romanian-built 400 horsepower supercharged Yak-52 TWs. With their performance routine, the Aerostars make it a mission to inspire youth to consider aviation or engineering careers, which are both in high demand.
We're trying to mentor young people and inspire young people throughout our shows to get involved and get that fire burning again. It's a great time to be in aviation.
David Toulis, AOPA Live.
So they're one of my favorite acts to watch.
Yeah, they are. A lot of fun. And 17 minutes, that's a long time to be up there doing that routine.
That is.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's a wrap for this week. Thanks so much for giving us a bit of your time.
We hope you'll join us next Thursday for the next edition of AOPA Live This Week. And remember, check NOTAMs.
Purchasing your own aircraft is an exciting experience. AOPA Finance simplifies the process, saving you money with lower interest rates and hassle-free loans, so you get into your new aircraft sooner. AOPA Finance, the right approach to buying an aircraft.